Swain, Jerry Mack is headed to the Jacksonville Jaguars. We have known that for a few days now. After having coached Tennessee's running backs the last 3 years, now linebackers coach Brian Jean-Marie is headed to Michigan. So there is an opening on both the offensive and defensive side of the football for Tennessee's coaching staff.
This is part of it. If you are Josh Heupel, you're going to have to replace coaches. You're going to have coaches see better opportunities for their careers, for their families when it comes to security. And Brent Hubbs of VolQuest.com posted talking about Michigan offering BJM a 3-year deal. And Tennessee has given coaches 2-year deals who are assistants, coordinators, 3-year deals. And so when you look at that, you guaranteed another year by Michigan. Michigan dropped the Brinks truck on Brian Jean-Marie. He's coached there before. And so I'm sure that factored into his decision to leave. Maybe there's a little bit of a good feeling about the fact that it took him this long to officially make the decision because it was not made earlier. Michigan came in hot and heavy and threw a bunch of money at him. He likes Knoxville, likes it here, and the fact that it took so long for this to come out, I guess you could look at it and say, hey, man, it was a tough decision for him. He really liked it here. But now it's about making the right hire. And being a head coach is more than just calling plays if you're Josh Heupel. It's about handling these moments well and using this opportunity to upgrade. It doesn't mean that Jerry Mack is not a good coach. It doesn't mean that Brian Jean-Marie is not a good coach. But when you have an opening, you want to upgrade. The same way if you have a player leave your program, the next spot to fill that spot, you want that spot to be a better spot, that player to be better. So why not have the same mentality when it comes to an assistant coach? We have completed 3 years here in the SEC if you're Josh Heupel. You understand what it takes to win. You had an idea of what it took to win coming into the league. You learned some lessons during your 3-year tenure here, and it's time to make some adjustments. It's time now, after completing 3 years, knowing what you have to do and doing those things. And hiring a good coach is part of the job. So I'm not necessarily feeling one way or the other about losing Brian Jean-Marie because I think losing him hurts more than losing Jerry Mack. This is a blow for sure. But if you hire the right guy, it's okay. If you don't hire the right guy, you're in trouble. You can play around with running backs. We've seen Trooper Taylor never coach running backs before coming in to Tennessee in 2004, have 2,000-yard rushers. You had Jay Graham, former Tennessee running back that was a GA at the time, really helped those running backs. Trooper was more about accountability and energy, and those guys rushed for 1,000 yards apiece. Gerald Riggs, Cedric Houston, first time in history for Tennessee. That is proof you can do that at that position. You can't play around with linebackers. You can't have a one-time, first-time coach, a coach who's not prepared to teach, develop, recruit. You will get your butt handed to you on Saturdays if you don't have a linebacker coach that knows what he's doing, that puts his players in position, that can coach, develop. Because in this league, the opponent will run the ball down your throat. And we saw last year, even with Brian Jean-Marie as the coach, with the inexperienced linebacker, we saw Florida torches attacking our linebackers. So you can't play around about this hire if you are Josh Heupel. It is extremely important to get the right guy. And spring practice is around the corner. You have to fill 2 vacancies. And there's not a lot of time to be wasting. You got to make these hires as quick as possible, but making sure that you're thorough and you cross your T's, dot your I's, and getting the right guy.
It's a big developmental offseason at that position too, isn't it? Arion Carter's a guy coming back from an injury that he suffered at the end of the season, but he would be high on the list of players that I'm sure Tennessee hopes will make a big jump from 2023 to 2024. Keenan Peely will also come back, having missed almost all the season after suffering an injury in the first game against Virginia. But with those young players like Carter and Jeremiah Thielander, this is a big offseason to see what kind of improvement they can make.
You're paying Tim Banks all the money that you're paying him, not only to call a defense, but he has to make this the right hire too. Like ultimately, it's Josh Heupel's say. He's the head coach, but you have run the offense. You've allowed Tim Banks to do his thing. That's why you're paying him $1.5 million. And so Tim Banks has to knock this out of the park. He has to get someone that he vibes with, that they speak the same language. It's important that these linebackers, especially some of the young linebackers, that they're not being taught something totally different, and they're confused. So it's this is prime time for Tim Banks, man. So he's coached in a lot of places. I've heard great things about him, so he shouldn't have much of a problem with developing a nice pool of candidates to talk to and see if there's a connection between him and the potential next linebacker coach.
The news we're discussing, linebackers coach Brian Jean-Marie will leave Tennessee to go to Michigan. You mentioned the part of the story that he'll get a 3-year deal at Michigan. Tennessee, to this point, has only offered up to 2 years on a contract for non-coordinators on the coaching staff. When you see him leave for another college job, and he came to Tennessee from Michigan after the 2020 season, what do you think with that aspect? Like Jerry Mack went to the NFL. That was a different kind of move. He saw an NFL opportunity. He's going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is a move from one school to another.
Man, a couple things come to mind, a couple questions that I have. Number one, do you want to be a coordinator? Yesterday we had a conversation about some guys are okay with being long-time assistants. They don't want to be a head coach. They don't want to be a coordinator. They're cool with that. They don't want that responsibility. Just give me my $500,000, my $250,000. Let me coach my position. Leave me alone. Not a bad gig. Not a bad approach. You have other coaches that want to be more than just a position coach. They want to be an offense coordinator. They want to be a defensive coordinator. They may want to be a head coach one day. And so I wonder, when you look at the position Jerry Mack was, not Jerry Mack, but Brian Jean-Marie was in, coaching on the side of the ball, that really didn't get much credit for the success on Saturdays. We have focused, and I mean we, not like Josh and Swain, but like everybody has focused on Tennessee's offense, because defense was so bad the first year, and what the staff inherited, it took the offense scoring a bunch of points to be able to win. Then you had Hendon Hooker have the year that he had in 22, and Hyatt, and the offense was dynamic. But this year, the defense was the best unit, period, point blank. The offense was terrible at times, hard to watch at times, frustrating at times. The defense allowed you to win that Texas A&M game, defense, special teams. That defense sealed the deal against South Carolina. And so if you are a coach on the defense, do you get as much credit as coaches on the offense? I'm not saying that's an issue. I'm just putting myself in the shoes of a defensive coach here when you look at how we have kind of won in the last 3 years or tried to win. Offense leads here.
Defense has gotten a ton of credit at Michigan, where Jean-Marie is going. They also, with the new head coach, Sharon Moore, taking over for Jim Harbaugh, have hired Wink Martindale to be the defense coordinator, one of the most respected coaches on the defensive side in football.
So you get a chance to learn from him. No shade towards Tim Banks, but Tim Banks ain't 70 years old. I'm not sure if Martindale's 70. That's just a guess. I hope he's close because I don't want to offend him. But, like, Wink has coached a lot of football, so you get a chance to learn from him.
He's 60, so you're –
He's 60?
Yeah, you're within range.
Dang, okay. So you get a chance to learn from someone that's done it at the highest level, the NFL level. And if you want to be a defense coordinator, you may have the opportunity to do it in Michigan. Because how long will Wink Martindale coach at Michigan before he says, you know what, man, forget these kids. I'm going back to the NFL. I can't deal with this.
It could definitely happen.
If that happens, Brian Jean-Marie is right in position to be the next defensive coordinator. So that's one thing I thought about. I think the 2-year deal versus 3-year deal is a huge thing. That's basically almost $1 million in extra bread, extra money. That alone is every reason to leave and go to Michigan. Just that. So you add that to the equation. His relationship maybe with Sharon Moore. I mean, he's been up there before. So I understand him leaving. It does on the surface look like a lateral move. But, guys, Michigan just won that championship. They just won that championship. They're going to get more money. Has a chance to learn from one of the best defensive coordinators in the last decade at the NFL level. So I get it. Now, if you're Tim Banks, you're Josh Heupel, man, you got to make the next hire. You have to nail the next hire. Because if you don't, in year 4, in the linebackers, if they are a weakness and we're losing games, it's not going to be pretty at all. When you enter year 4, you are expected to have everything together. And you've had some success in recruiting the linebacker position. You have some experience coming back with Kenan Peely. You're expected to make that next jump. And you can't allow a coach from holding you back from doing that, whether he's not coaching the right way or if he is not able to get the best out of the players because they don't respond to him. Whatever reason, you just got to get the right guy.